everybody. Yeah, we're rolling.
Rolling
Down the river.
I'm not going to pretend I got those lyrics right. I'm not necessarily the greatest with lyrics.
I don't even know if I got them right. I just know there's something like that. Like
Yeah.
at the very least, there's something like that. But we got the rolling down.
Oh, it needs to be an intro, or maybe our next show will be an intro or an outro sort of thing. We could add it in. Who knows?
Yeah, we could have some. Yeah, we could definitely have some fun with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
So, everybody, welcome to the Destiny of Your Soul. I've got with me, as always, Kyle Spyrides, author of Decide Your Destiny, custodian to the Decide Your Destiny movement, which is an amazing movement. Imagine that, deciding your destiny, right? You get to choose. I'm trying to point right at the camera.
I love it.
And what?
Oh, I was just going to say, your shirts matching your background. It's almost like you are one with the mountain.
I'm Zen. I'm on Mount Fuji.
Yeah. So would you like to tell us about that? Hello, Trevor.
Oh, I can. Oh, hey, we've got people on the chat today. Hey, cousin. That's my cousin. I love him.
That's awesome.
I missed him.
I love it.
He's been working hard this year. So, yeah. So I'm Angela Talent, author of Poems from a Lost Soul, and you can find me at Damaged Parents pretty much on every single platform. Your platforms, though, they look up either Kyle or Decide Your Destiny, right?
The easiest is just look up Kyle Spyrides, which is Spyrides. For those.
That's how I wanted to say it in my American way.
Everybody you meet people and they're like itching, like, oh, can I say spy? Am I allowed to say spy? And you're like, go on. Get it out of your system. Come on, mate.
Right? Facts. Yeah, that's just how it is. But the bottom line is we're here today to talk about finding faith, and it is the last chapter in your book. So we are rounding out this segment or this. We're not sure what we're doing next, right?
Hey, look, I think a lot of life is, and a lot of figuring things out, my profession is in media like photography, videography and capturing and editing and a lot of what we think life is that finished photoshopped image or that finished video reel that's been edited for 50 hours straight and with 5 different locations and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of what we think life is, a lot of what we think success is, a lot of what we think any undertaking is that finished product. However,
the finished.
It's a long, like that mountain right behind you, that Mount Fuji. It's like starting at the bottom of that Mount Fuji, going all the way up the top, falling over, scratching your knee, getting back up, getting on your knees, saying, "Why, God, why?" And then as you traverse the mountain, and that's I think you have to, you have to be maybe somewhat crazy, but I think you have to enjoy the process.
We got Mom here too.
Mom.
But I know my mom. You guys have to go watch the last episode. Yep. And you have to watch it on YouTube because we were having problems getting on Facebook. But go watch it on YouTube and you will understand the whole my mom. And there's a really fantastic, funny story to go with it.
Well, go tell us give us a quick snippet because now you've.
Oh yeah, it's the aunt to Trevor. But the quick snippet is I was in choir and they said I was off key and I didn't think I was the one off key. And, the lady was giving me a hard time and I was like, and that anger boiled up in me and I was like, my mom said I'm handling it, I could do it just fine and I just need to, just go for it. Or I can't remember what I said. Go watch the show. It was much closer to the time it happened. It was very funny. So,
it was just, you said it was something that just kind of, it came out of you Like it was just something that kind of came out of you, and then it was that moment. I think that's that brilliance of self-awareness, is you're kind of like, whoa, like you're like, whoa, I noticed this energy come out of me, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it boiled up. It boiled up, and before I knew it, my mom.
I was in the choir, just in the back, you know,
in front of all the adults, and I'm a grown. Like I said in the last show, I'm a grown ass woman, so that was kind of funny. My mom, but nevertheless, so like finding that faith, right? Like that's what we're here to talk about today, and what I don't think we announced it, but I was doing a meditation retreat, so I was offline for like 7 days, and you talking about Mount Fuji.
How was that?
Oh, it's work, right? So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know, and I kind of went into it like that, right? So I didn't ask a ton of questions, and I didn't ask a ton of questions on purpose, because I'm really trying to, in the last few years, I've been really working hard on knowing that I don't really know what the next moment is going to hold. I might think I do. I might have an idea, and yet I don't really know. And it's kind of like climbing that mountain, that unknown, living in that unknown. And I think that in order to have faith, I have to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. You can be shielded for so much of life, and then you face a hard reality. I don't remember where I was listening to. I think it was a podcast or something that was talking about females in particular, and it was saying something around the 50-year-old or the 50 and beyond. There's like a moment in time where the blanket of maybe the male, like maybe the father or the husband, or maybe the father passes away, or the husband, something happens in the relationship, but that blanket kind of gets, that protective blanket kind of gets pulled away, and like maybe it's the realization of mortality or whatever, and a lot of 50-year-old women, that's when they tend to change or not act out, but quite, like they're quite different. I remember listening to this podcast, and then quite a few family members and women around me at that age, I know and love and respect. I was like, yeah, like just a couple of years ago, they like were stronger. They were fearless. They were ferocious. They were this. They were that. Like what? Like how could something happen in that space of time? And I think that's testament to what you're saying, because I think if we are protected and shielded, and even in our own mind, we might like, walk up Mount Fuji and go, close our eyes and go, it's not that big, it's not that big, it's not that big, as we're going up, but that's not doing us service. We have to really kind of experience the cold, like we have to experience the grit of the cement floor. You got to feel that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of what modern culture is like, it's like a coddling almost, or like like a coddling of any emotion, any feeling, any way that we don't want to cause you stress, we don't want to upset you, we don't want to get, who knows what it is. It might be the abundant ways people can get sued these days, or whatever it is. But like it's a lot of coddling of people.
Yeah, my daughter came across this post on the Little Prince, I think it was, and it was basically saying, of course, I'm going to hurt you. I love you. I don't do it on purpose, basically what the gist of it was. But of course it's going to happen. Of course we don't know the next minute. And I just want to say what Trevor said in the chat so that our listeners can hear it. Live in the present and have faith. The next 2 seconds won't kill you, and you will be all right. And then Paul says, hello. Hello, Paul. Nice to see you.
Hello, Paul. Let's get a poll.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this chapter, when I read it, because I went back and I read these poems, and usually I'm like, okay, I know, and I must have really felt the love from this chapter, because
Wow.
I wrote it about love, and because in my thing I was like, gosh, I can't remember what I wrote, and I kind of thought I was going to see the word faith, and when I went into my chapter 2 notepad, it didn't say that. So it's called What is Love? Is it a warm blanket when you're cold? Is it all the people who loved you when you didn't know it? Is it all the people who love you now? Is love knowing that all of everyone, even the parts you hate, exist inside of you too? Does love care if you behave as an adult or a child? What is love to you? Perhaps it's existing and being, all from the perspective of love. So it's not like a super rhyming poem. It's just like one of those, what is it? Like, how do you define love?
Hit us again.
Okay. Yeah, and if any of you guys watching want to share with us how you define love, I personally would love to hear it. Okay, awesome. What is love? Is it a warm blanket when you're cold? Is it all the people who loved you when you didn't know it? Is it all the people who love you now? Is love knowing that all of everyone, even the parts you hate, exist inside you too? Does love care if you behave as an adult or a child? What is love to you? Perhaps it's existing, being, all from the perspective of love. Hey, Linda.
Wow. Powerful.
Yeah.
Hey, Linda. That it's so interesting that you're talking about this. And I guess this is the chapter, and it's in the book. The actual title of the chapter is "What Does Jesus Look Like?" And the I guess the story behind that, for the reasoning for that chapter, was my grandfather was coming to the end of his life, and I went over to flew over. I guess for people in the US, it's like flying from California to New York, sort of thing. So I flew across the country, go and be there with him, and then and kind of be there right to the end. And like one of the hardest weeks of my life, and one of the most rewarding, because like you're called, like and the whole family and everyone, they're really appreciative of you showing up and helping them, and a lot of the women in the family were appreciative of, because they didn't have to kind of see some of the things that me and his son had to see, or do some of the things that we had to do, or kind of help, and grandfather also just didn't, for his dignity's sake, he'd rather the men did those certain things. So he passed away, but as he was passing away that final week, he was coming in and out of consciousness, and my stepfather said to him, Clivey, like, what do you see? What do you see? And he said, what? Jesus. So everyone came around, said, like, what do you mean you see Jesus? And then my stepfather went over and said, what does he look like? And then Clivey had this big smile on his face, and he said, he's standing by the river with a boat for me. And then, like my stepfather family, like, asking, like, oh, what does he look like? What does he look like? And he had this big boyish grin, and he just said, love. And it was just amazing to see, and it's the kind of contrast, or the interesting, because probably many people would ask that question, what does he look like? And in my mind, I wasn't even thinking of asking that question. I was just, I guess, full observance. And for me, I didn't care, or didn't think of that. But it was just, was powerful just to see how peaceful he was and how peaceful that passing was. And that to him, when you mention the word love, like to him, Jesus Christ in his mind was love. Jesus Christ in his mind was the person with the boat. His spirit's going to go onto the boat, and he's going to be taken to the next realm, and it's going to be a peaceful transition. And it's just amazing. And I held his hand right to the end, and I tell you, it was one of the most peaceful things I've seen in my life and experienced. Heartbreaking, like painful, but also peaceful. And I just think it's shunned or hidden away so much, you know, like or sensationalized passing in society today, and then everything that's sexual or sexy or hot, and that is like the prize thing. But I'm like, like the memento mori, remember you'll die. The kind of the reality of that breathes life into your decision making. And I guess that's a big essence of the book, and why I wrote the book was since 18, since my own facing death, I had that conscious, like I had that awareness of it. Every patient room I was in, every appointment, it was just a constant reminder, and it was all about the the topical or the flavor of every conversation or every procedure or whatever was, how do we extend your longevity? How do we extend your longevity? How do you extend your longevity? So and it was just it was very intense, and I think for me it helped to develop the appreciation of life, looking at it through the eyes of death, and I think that's something to be said for that.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to come back to a question about that, but I also wanted to say that Paul did put in the chat his definition of love. Love, to me, he says, is an act of kindness for the simple reason of kindness. And Becky
Lovely,
agrees
Paul.
with him. Yeah. What
Hello, classmate.
was it
Jeez,
like?
you got your whole clan here, I tell you.
I
You
do.
got an
I got
army.
a plan. They're all sleeping over there. You're
Yeah.
they'll watch later. Your friend, everybody will watch on the
I know,
replay
right?
later.
I know. No one's up at this time
But
over here. It's Australia, mate.
like, so I think this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like the next moment is, there's no guarantee. Like we might think, like, what was it like living in that constant reminder that anything could happen? Like, how did that help you become who you are?
Great question. I think at the time and years after, I think it was traumatic, and it did have a underlying thing. And I guess the interesting thing was to notice years and years later, simple things. Going to have a cold shower, like there was a underlying fear, like, oh my god, is my heart going to explode? Oh, I'm putting my shoes on, I'm going to go for a jog. Oh my god, is my heart going to explode? Like there were just a few different underlying fears that were just etched in, and it took years for the self-awareness to go, holy moly, like what are these little trickles of that trauma that are still coming through? So like during that time, it felt like pushing an elephant up Mount Fuji. Like it was just there was literally there was nothing. It was just like a really hard time, like really hard, difficult, like scratching and scrounging for one little bit of good piece of information. And quite early in the whole piece, and it's in the book, I had that that 6 week stay in the hospital, and I did the juice cleanse, and I got rid of the bug, and so that was like a success piece. So there was early success throughout the long-winded struggle, but it was just kind of like it felt like you're pushed so many steps back, and then you were just trying to claw back and back. So at the time it was very hard, and it was very like that sort of thing, like, and I think we've probably all experienced this in life, like you just go, God, can I just catch a break here? Like, can I just can I just get like a little bit of wind in my sail? Can I get going here? Can I get some sort of momentum in the right direction? And so that was a challenging thing, because you'd get ahead, and then you'd go to have a test done, and you get this data, this information. Oh, this is all the things wrong. Oh, this is what we got to worry about. Oh, this is all the fears, this is all the worries, this is all the, and you just get kicked back. And I remember driving from a test, like a bunch of tests, on my way to work, and just like kind of crying because I found out new information that I wasn't being told at the start, and we can't ever do this. This is restricted here now. This is what we've done here. There's no way around it. And it's just very hard and heavy. And so at the time, like soul destroying and tough and really freaking hard, and like would kind of drain the life out of me. But then over time, I think it's signified how I live my life, and why I do the things I do, and I think you got to be really sharp and switched on in life, especially today. Things change so quickly, moments change so quickly, and we all have that part to play, that kind of pebble in the ocean that ripples out and affects everyone around us, and that I think you're more aware of that. Well, geez, am I an asset to this person of my life, or am I a liability? Am I helping them, or am I detracting? And you're really kind of aware of those sorts of things around you, and the effect and the eventual outcome of your decisions.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because if by going through that struggle, by constantly having it in your face that the next moment wasn't promised, like if how that helped you build your faith.
Oh yeah, it helped me to have faith as not something I go to when I need to pray, or when I need to read something, but embody it. And the book that I wrote, the whole thing, all this manifested, came from a prayer, like a deep prayer, after Clivey passed away, flying back to the west coast of Australia, deep in prayer, saying, "Hey God, Jesus, ether, energy source, like I just want to get on path. I don't want to be bumbling around for the rest of my life. I just want to get on path. I want to be doing the good work that you sent me here to do." And then that vision of the book came out, and then and that those words, "Decide Your Destiny," which my grandfather said 7 years earlier, when we were just sitting on the couch, and there was no topic, there was no conversation. He just turned to me and said, "Decide your destiny." I said, "What are you saying, Clive?" He said, "Decide your destiny." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Make sure whatever you do in your life that you decide your destiny." And that went in one ear, went out the other. And then in that prayer, the first time I've ever heard it in my mind again, with an intention on it. So it definitely built faith. And I think, in terms of finding faith, it's always there for you. It's always there for you. I think it's just the awareness and the attention, and trust, as Trevor said. Trust.
Yeah. He says, all you can do is trust in the friendship, for you always have those worries. Yeah. It's yeah, and I think that's so true. I love what Trevor just said too, and I love what you're pointing to as well, is like having that faith was like you got a firsthand lesson in faith and learned that it's not just going to prayer when you want to go to prayer, or you need something, or you think you need something. That's what I was getting from what you were saying. Yeah. And I think for me, it's been more of learning that I don't know what's in the next moment. In fact, there's a saying that I made a long time ago: there are worlds beyond number right here on earth, right? And so also remembering, I don't know what's next. If I don't know all of who someone is, which is impossible, right? Then how could I possibly know what the next moment is going to hold? I just, and that's when I think what Clivey was talking about was that's where you get to decide your destiny, is in those moments. Going back to what Paul said about love, right? Like it's in those moments that we decide, are we going to come from love or are we going to come from somewhere else?
Yeah.
That just gave me the chills. I just want you to know that.
And no, that's the grand question, isn't it? That's the grand, because the fear, like, and it's not just what I went through. You can flick on the news, you can like go to social media and put in a topic, and you can be you can get your full cup of fear. Don't worry. I'm not saying fear is something that needs to go away or needs to be shunned. There's moments in life when fear is a useful necessity. You know, like you should fear putting your hand into a boiling pot of water. Like, I hope you fear it. You know, like so.
Yeah.
There are things that where you need everything in life. It's not about canceling things out, or you need a lot of things in life. And I think I think you can go and you can get overwhelmed by it. But as you said so eloquently, is what are you going to base your next decision off? Are you going to base your next decision off what you read in the headline? Are you going to allow, like merchants of chaos through screens get into your mind, get into your spirit, get into your soul, and then affect the way that you talk to your partner because you're so stressed out about the interest rate rising because of this, because of that, because of this fear, because of the possibility of AI, taking your life over, whatever. Are you going to take that and then take that next moment of fear into your next relationship or into your next decision? Or, could you imagine someone who's going to speak in front of a school and he's looking at all these different scary topics and then he's going to go and speak into school? Like, you're going to transfer that. And I think that's the important thing with decision making, is realizing every decision or everything like is transmutable to the next thing. Every decision, every energy you take is the next thing. And that's where people around you affect you so much. People around you, like, you might think, oh, they're just around me, but I'm still doing my own thing, I'm getting along. Their just mere presence can affect you. So
Yes.
that was so important what you said. Like, where are you basing your next decision from? Where are you coming from? Are you coming from, like Paul said, that place of love? You're coming from fear? Like really just tapping back into regularly. You could even set a reminder on your phone. Where am I coming from?
Yeah.
Where am I coming from every hour on the hour?
Yeah. Fred Blum actually said, set a random reminder and have, ask yourself, what character are you playing right now? What character?
Yes.
And I think that's where, who do I want to be? And sometimes that's hard, like last week. That was the other point. Thank you, Kat, for putting that in the chat. She says, fear is the opposite of faith. But
and classic Angela.
I had she said that too. I had a flare up after my during my meditation retreat. I had a flare up, which extended beyond my retreat, and I was reminded, because I went into what I call poopy mind, right? Like, everything is horrible. I'm not going to make it to the next thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was reminded that I can't know a friend of mine said, you can't know the light without knowing the darkness. And I'm like, oh. So it reminds me, and that's one of the things, like having a chronic pain disorder and disabilities is that I don't know. Especially with what I have, I just don't know what's going to happen next. Is my pain going to show up or is it not going to show up? Am I going to get to finish what I wanted to finish or not finish what I wanted to finish? And can I be okay with it? So learning, for me, faith has also been learning to let go. And Trevor's going to steal poopy mind.
It just don't steal the poop.
And Kat's, and Kat sent an emoji.
What emoji is that? Wow.
I don't know. It's like a little crying face. It looks like almost like what's that guy? The Marvel guy that is in the red and the black. He's played by Ryan Reynolds. Deadpool. It looks almost like a crying Deadpool.
Very cool.
But I don't know if it is.
But doesn't that help you, like, that unknowing? Does that not help you bring more life to each moment, each heartbeat?
I think it has to, right? Because I get to just appreciate. In fact, I even get to appreciate my pain. And if you have a moment, because I know we were getting close on time.
That's right. The comments just keep coming in.
I know,
Your
right?
poopy
I
mind has
wrote this
taken off.
poem. I know, it's because it's Poopy Mind.
Please tell me this poem is titled Poopy Mind.
No, it's called Pain, My Friend. But, some of you might think that's poopy minded thinking. So here it goes. It was just a moment, only one moment, from normal to not, when I felt that sharp pain and everything changed. The pain became my unwanted guest who refused to leave no matter how many times I asked. For years I fought, and pain fought too. In this never-ending battle, we were both sure to lose. Many times I thought I might end my life due to this never-ending strife. But I kept persevering, hoping for a cure, not even close to understanding the pain was not impure. Then one day, in the midst of my pain, I relaxed and thought, maybe it just wants to exist. So instead of fighting, I took a breath and said to myself, to be in pain can be hell only when I think I should feel something else.
Ooh. Power. It kind of makes me think of what do we think we should be feeling, when we're kind of exercising, maybe, like, should we be feeling gigglies in our stomach, butterflies, or, like, or is that like a painful, experience, and the pain is the process, part of the process.
Yeah. Pain has taught me so much. So much.
Yeah. It's humbling, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. And it's
got a humbling force.
No question. And I called it Pain, My Friend, because I think at some point when you live with chronic pain, it has to become your friend. Because when it doesn't, it's like going out into the cold weather. And you know how some people, you might brace because the wind is coming up, and you fight against it, and actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
And then if you kind of relax into it, it flows.
Breathe. Yeah.
Same theory. But it also tells me many important things. Hey, you've been, I did too much. My pain will tell me, hey, stop. Sometimes I'm a good listener, sometimes I'm not.
Hey, I think we can all put our hand up to that.
Yeah. Wow. But I know we're on a time crunch. Are we ready to close out?
What a location to close at. I think the lesson is don't act just off your feelings.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. Yeah.
That was the hardest lesson when my kids were young, to ask myself, is this my pain speaking, or is this really what I'm feeling? Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You're inspirational.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we're going to be back.
You've climbed Mount Fuji. I mean, you've become one of Mount Fuji. I don't know anybody who's done that,
Yeah, it's merging into my background myself. But I want everybody to know we will be back. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. Kyle and I are going to chit chat and figure out what our next steps are going to be. And, we're just going to be joyful of what happens next. And on my side, Kyle has frozen, so maybe he will unfreeze here in a second. But if not, let's see. I'm going to give it a sec. Oh, there he is. Yay. He unfroze. He unfroze on my side. Yay.
It's cold out there in Mount Fuji. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Anyhow, so Kyle Spyrides, author of Decide Your Destiny and custodian of the Decide Your Destiny movement. I'm Angela, author of Poems from a Lost Soul, and you can find me at Damaged Parents. This is the destiny of your soul. and we will see you when we next see you. And I'm going to send my love. Yeah, Kyle?
Amen.
Amen. See you later. Bye-bye.